Welcome back, everyone. I'm your host, Bryan Vogt. You're listening to Ready, Set, Sold. Thanks so much for joining us again. Hey, we left off the last time. We started talking about not only the backyard, but key issues, things that maybe sometimes sellers aren't aware of. On one level, I think most of these things that people are hearing, they kind of know. But what we're always trying to do is trying to give you information. Again, these are proven results that we're talking about in the book that make you aware of that can actually cost you money. And so these things become much more important. A key not getting in the door, being able to get in the door, the buyer and the realtor might sound funny initially, but it can have some lingering effects, more so than what people think. With that said, we're going to talk about what is traditionally the man cave on the outside, and that's the garage. And Kelly, we were talking during the break, and you've got some insights as far as when it comes to the garages.
Garage is all about storage for your car and storage for your stuff. And if your stuff is jam-packed in there and there's no room for one more Frisbee, your buyer's going to see that too and think, oh, there's not room in here for my stuff. So keep it organized and neat. Shelving is huge. If you have shelving, buyers love that.
And that's a great point. And I think one of the things that people don't understand, and this happens far too often than it should, you have a 2-car garage with only 1 car available to park in it. So in the buyer's mind, you have a 1-car garage. You do not have a 2-car garage. That's huge. And I love what you said there about the storage aspect of it. One of the things that we see sellers have great success with, if you have those bins, or if nothing else, go get some. They're not that expensive. Go ahead and put some storage up, and then you can get the metal ones. But leave space in between. It's a very visual thing. And now they say, okay, well, you've got plenty of storage. I'll have more than enough storage. You're creating an illusion. But again, I'll go back just to reiterate. On that garage, if you have a 2-car garage, then 2 cars have to visually be able to get in there. Otherwise, you have a 1-car garage. It's just that simple. Again, you may have a riding lawnmower. I understand that. Move it off to the side. There's usually enough room, believe it or not, if you park it right, that you can get that 2-car illusion at least to have that done. If worst case scenario is at least to get a picture of it showing that 2 cars can get in when you're marketing it, okay? I mean, look, I understand that's important. One of the things, though, I do want to talk about, too, that I think is important, and we're talking about staging and how important it is, but one of the things that kind of comes up is, you know what, life gets in the way sometimes, okay? Things don't go all the way. We don't all have perfect lives, and when we're listing our homes and trying to sell our homes, sometimes you have one of those days and the lights don't get on and the air conditioning doesn't get turned down and the dishes are sitting in the sink and there's crumbs on it. All those things happen, and all of a sudden there's the phone call or the text and it says, we have a showing today. I can tell you it's not unusual. It does happen. I will tell you we recommend it. Sellers have had great success. The sellers usually contact us. They tell this is what happened. We have the buyer and we tell the buyer's agent, hey, had a bad day. This is what's going on. Get the showing in, though. Yeah. Get the showing in. Sellers are very much rewarded about that. Look, people get it. Buyers get it, too. They just want to see the house sometimes. And, yes, you'd like to have everything done exactly right. And normally you would. But if you don't, get the showing in. And that's so important because, Kelly, you've talked about it before.
Yeah.
They don't always come back.
Right. I've had buyers skip a house because they can't get in it. They're in town for this weekend and you've gone out of town and decide you don't want to show your house. Well, they're not coming back. They're going to buy their house this weekend. Right.
And it could be that. It can also be a local connection, too. We see the same thing is we've seen situations where people, this is what the number one house was going to be, and they, for whatever reason, couldn't get into it. Well, they went out and saw 4 more other houses because, just so you know, as a seller, if you don't know, average is 10. Buyers are looking at 10, so that's 9 other houses on average they're looking at. So yes, your house is special, but it's special in the sense of where it sits on the land. Meaning is which unique where it's located at. But you've got competition. So if you're saying no to a potential buyer, guess what? They're going to be looking at other houses, and you can lose a deal on that. So as much as we talked about getting these things done, and normally you can get them done, if you don't lose the showing, okay? Just, it's okay. It happens. That's important to understand. Get the book. Again, we couldn't cover everything that's in here. Go to readysetsold.org, not .com, readysetsold.org, not .com. You're with Bryan Vogt and my team member, Kelly Etheridge, and this is Ready, Set, Sold. We'll see you in a few.